I have a bag under my left eye. It's fine.
Can't even tell. You look fab, as always. Do you like the
She would
Christmas
say that.
Christmas tree?
I do. I really like that thing right there.
We have to keep this in. Like, it's so good.
So I feel like this week we need to just have a candid conversation. No notes. Like, let's just dig deep and get into like some holiday trauma. Like, let's just go into it. Let's talk about, like the fact that my kids don't do Santa. Like, let's talk about why. Let's talk about opening and expanding our minds to the pressures and anxiety that so many of us feel during the holiday season. How's that for an intro, Athena?
Yeah, I think this is perfect. It's literally perfect. So we wanted to update you guys also really quick before we jump into this episode about just the rest of the year and what our plans are for you guys. And we take this platform and this space so seriously, and we want to always keep you guys updated on what we have going on and what we have planned. So we are going to be kind of having a closing to the first season, and this has been like the most fun, and we have so many exciting things that are coming for you guys.
Y'all aren't even ready for this.
You are not even ready.
You guys are gonna all crap your pants.
So we want to just leave it little mic drop. So we are going to be having a closing to the season. We're going to be having a few more episodes coming up. This episode's going to be going up the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving. And then we're going to be having a few more episodes to kind of close out the year. And then we are going to be coming back next year, revamped, revived. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. You'll be the first to hear about any updates and things coming when season 2 is going to be coming out. We will keep you guys posted, but we really want, to put our alls, our 100%, everything we put out. So that's why we kind of are going to take a little winter break for a few weeks and situate ourselves and, really like figure out all these amazing things that we have planned. So stay tuned. Just wanted to let you guys know we're not going anywhere, but we just need a little
just getting started. What are we talking about?
We just need
here?
A little yes, and we want you guys to know that and keep you guys informed and updated so you know. Anyways, with all that boring stuff put aside, by the way, we will be very active on our socials. So we're not disappearing off the face of the earth. We will be active on there. But just off of this platform, we're going to be taking a few weeks break and then we'll be back and literally better than ever. So anyways, and all that being said,
I want to thank you guys because a lot of y'all have been sending me messages on my Instagram, and then even in the Sisterish Show platform, we've been getting a bunch of messages that you guys literally treat Tuesdays as your therapy, and like that's what we want for you. We want you to know that you're not alone. We want you to know that you are part of our sisterhood, and I feel like the world would be such a much more beautiful place if more women, instead of serial killer Lifetime movie vibes trying to like tear people down, we lifted each other up. So I want to thank you guys for, last episode my mic died in the middle of it. Now I'm on my pink mic, so you might get some ASMR, but we're learning alongside y'all, and we're really just two sisters that never had, I had a podcast, but not as dope as this one. And so we're figuring it out, and we are professionals, and we plan on really, we have huge goals for next year, and I cannot believe we're at the year end. I'm actually really happy that it's the closing of one chapter. Athena called me, which I guess we could segue into. My birthday was just last week, so thank you for all the birthday wishes. Athena had me bawling with those reels she kept posting. Thank you. 36 and thriving, not a stitch of makeup on. But I we're both so thankful for you guys. So I just want to make sure that you know that, and know that like this ship has not sailed. Like, we are just getting started. We have so many things. We want to do a meetup in 2024. I'm doing my first Resilient as a Mother coaching group that we want to open up to everyone next year, where it's Athena and I working with y'all. So just get excited, but let's go back to the trauma of the holidays, because I feel like this is definitely one that we need to talk about.
Yeah, so I think that this time of year is very interesting. I think a lot of people have kind of different reactions, and some people get super excited around this time of year, and other people, I feel like it's not that type of excitement. And I think there's a lot of reasons that go into it, whether you're missing someone that you used to have in your life, or you just have trauma associated with this time of year with family or, relationships and things like that. So I think that it's really good for us to like have this conversation, because I think people just associate this time of year with like everything good and exciting and happy, and for a lot of people it's not like that. And I think just the way that holidays are celebrated, and even the typical things people do, I think I remember you even getting backlash from people about, oh,
Yeah.
well, why don't you do certain things with your kids that, most people do, whether it's Easter Bunny and things like that. And it's just like, I think it is a conversation to have, because I feel like it's just assumed that people want to do all these things and want to celebrate in this way, and eat the turkey and do all that, and it's like, no, actually I don't, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think the full disclaimer that we put out automatically, and I know that this sisterish platform already knows this about me, but just because I don't do Santa Claus does not mean I give a shit if you do Santa Claus. So let's just put that out there. I think I'm talking to the women out there that are part of our sisterhood that have children, or maybe you are thinking about having children, or maybe you're effing stressed right now because your mother-in-law is going to drive you mad and you don't have children yet. Whoever I'm talking to, like, listen up, sister. I have something to say. So Sean and I got married very young. And one of the things I brag about Athena, your other sister here on this podcast, about her is she's like 10 years ahead of me. And that's exactly what I want for her. So when I was her age, I was impressionable. My dad doesn't like when I say it. Sorry, daddy, I love you. I still have daddy issues. By the way, the disclaimer on that one is he never beat me. He never neglected me. But like, having a strong male figure in your home, you don't even realize it as a woman. It really is. It's so crucial. It's so important. And there's things that I did for male attention because I didn't have that. This isn't not a trauma, woe is me thing. Me and my dad have a great relationship, and I'm grateful to God for him every day, but it's just facts. So around holidays and bringing up the fact that Athena's 10 years older than me, she's got this baddie, I don't care what they think mentality about her. Now, as her big sister, I know there's things that she does care about. When we don't give an F, we still give Fs. But
Yeah.
it took me to my 30s, Athena, to get to a place where I was like, yeah, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And so that's why I say I'm 10 years behind you, because you're there right now. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of Joey.
Thanks.
But I guess this whole episode did start with the fact that when I had my first son at 22 years old, they don't know what the heck you're doing for Christmas, and they don't know whatever. But when Sean and I sat, and we didn't even have this talk before we had kids, which I will recommend that you have these talks with your, it's a good convo. Like, pour a glass of wine and have this talk. Do you remember the holidays as being something that was enjoyable for you? And some people are going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, Disney World and rainbows and unicorns. It was beautiful. It was fun. I had piles of gifts. My husband was like a little rich white boy, and he had all these gifts at Christmas, and he had great memories of everything. And then when we unfolded the onion, because I am very intentional, and although Athena, you're 10 years ahead of me, which that's my favorite thing about you, I guess I still was kind of like you in a sense of, we have these strong personalities that even at 23, I was like, well, why do we do what we do? And that's what we want you to do here on this show, is to think through things, not judging others, but just like really think through it. And so for me as a child, this is kind of embarrassing to admit on a podcast, but I guess I'm just going to go for it. I was raised believing in Santa and the magic of Christmas. And as a 36-year-old woman of 4 children, married for 13 years, I want you to know that it absolutely shattered me when I found out Santa wasn't real. And I realized some people are going to be like, what's the big deal with this? And what is she doing? A Be Real?
I'm taking a story for our page.
That's fine. All right, she's getting content, folks. I'll keep going. So I understand that, you know, this sounds ridiculous and that every kid grows up and like at some point, like I always joke with my boys, like, okay, tell your therapist that one. Like, that's the thing you're probably gonna have a therapist for. But when you as a child don't have this magical childhood, sorry, Ma, and you wake up and you find out from like your best friend, like I was literally like 7, like what a bitch, this bitch, if you're listening, I don't think she even knows I have a podcast. She told me Santa wasn't real and it shattered me. It was heartbreaking. I had literally questioned everything. I questioned if
okay, that's insane to me because I did not grow up like this is very interesting.
You were raised in a stay sweet house and you did none of that.
Yes, this is actually very interesting because I wasn't raised like that. So
Right.
I never believed, like, not believed, but I guess like I never was taught about Santa. Like, obviously I knew who Santa was, but I wasn't like, I didn't believe in him. And then you were, but now like you don't do that with your kids. And to me, because I didn't grow up with it, I'm like, why would I tell my kid? Like, I don't know. I guess I think it's like, I feel like if you didn't grow up with it, then it's like, why would I tell my kids that? But if you did grow up with it, like,
so
I feel
did
like
Joey grow up with Santa?
We haven't talked about that actually in the 6 years of us dating.
We need to have the combo. Let's have the combo.
Well, I'm going to ask him right after this episode, but I feel like if I had to take a guess, he probably wasn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure. But I feel like when we have kids, like, we wouldn't do that. So to me, it's like, I don't know. I don't know why some big jolly man needs, like, I'm buying your gifts. Like, I want the credit.
Okay. No, literally. Okay, so here's the thing with the whole Santa thing, bro. This is like so controversial within the mom sphere. It's like,
I did not realize how controversial this was.
Oh my gosh. There's two camps.
That.
And everybody who's in the camps thinks they're better than the other ones in the other camp.
That is wild to me. Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have the like super religious people who are like Jesus and Christmas and, you know, that whole situation. And then they're constantly throwing those stones and shade. Meanwhile, Jesus would pick them up and say, don't throw them. And so I think it's always going to be about intent and your heart. So you have these like religious people that are out there and you know, I go to church on Sunday and I'm not religious. I have a living relationship with God, but you know, and I fell into this trap a little bit too, but at the time that I decided not to do Santa was not because of me thinking that it was a sin to do Santa. Here's the thing that Sean and I told Sean the story about me and Santa Claus. And I was just like, I don't want to lie to my kid. And by the way, this is another one I get it for. They're like, I have like Santa highlights saved on my Instagram that are from like 5 years ago. And I ruffled a lot of feathers because I said, like, I don't want to lie to my children. I want my children to obey me, listen to their parents because they have a healthy respect and fear of their parents. Not because can we also talk about how much pedophilia shit is in this? This fat old man, the conspiracy realist is here.
Wait,
he's watching you when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Okay, this is fucking creepy. Like,
can I just say something? Like, I'm not a mom, so I will make this comment because you can't, like, you know, the moms won't come for me.
They might.
They might, and I'm okay with that. I'm 20. It's fine. Come for me. If you allow your child to sit on Santa's lap, you are like,
she is getting dirty today.
Like, in what universe would you allow your, your 1-year-old baby girl to sit on this old man's
ugly
lap?
Pedophile? Yeah.
And you don't know who that man is. Like,
did they do a background check on his ass?
Yeah, did you do a background check on him? I don't think so. You think Macy's is doing a background check on this guy? They literally could not give one care. So to me, it's like, as a parent, which I'm not a parent, and I'm just like, I wouldn't even let like my my nephews, my nieces, my cousins, like any baby, like I'd be like, ew, like why would you let them sit on this man's lap that you don't even know because what? Like he's sitting in the middle of the mall and like it's just all weird to me. It's all very weird to me.
The whole thing is weird. But listen, I grew up with Santa. I believed in Santa. I sat on his lap. I went to public school. So like all these things that I do that are counterculture it's actually quite hysterical. Like
it is.
I literally, let's go to this one. If daddy's listening to this, and your mom would remember too. When you were like 3 or 4 years old, I got into a straight up war with your parents about the fact that they won't let you do Halloween. And guess what? My sons have never done Halloween. What? And by the way, that's not like I'm like, oh, I'm holy now. Like, no, like when we made the decision as a couple, and this is what I'm going to recommend, and then we could talk about the trauma that's around the holidays and all this, right? Is we were like, if we're not going to lie about Santa, then why do we do any of the other things that we do? Like, there's not going to be a fairy that comes to give you $10. James pulled out his front like crooked tooth like 3 months ago, and I gave him $100 bill. Like, I am the tooth fairy. I am Santa Claus. Also, let's talk about the freaking anxiety around hiding it from your kid. I can barely have sex in my house now. You gotta lie about the Jolly Man and then hide all the gifts. Like, I have to lock the door to have an intimate moment with my husband. Where are you putting the gifts? Like, that is just that whole thing. This whole thing is just stressful for my ass. So here's what we've done. When we decided as a couple to not do Christmas, I told my husband, Sean, your brother, I said, listen, we are not going to be assholes about this. And we are going to raise our sons with character. So if any of them ever tell another child that Santa's not real, or laugh at another kid for believing in the magic of Christmas, they will get a ass whooping. And the craziest thing, I was talking to Sean about this recently, by the way, now they're like, you Scrooge? Christmas is my favorite holiday. I have the best Christmas decor. I'm vibing. I put the tree up on November 1st, bitches. Like, I love Christmas. But we do tend to commercialize these Hallmark holidays. And for my family, our conviction, it's not even Jesus's birthday, bro. First of all,
no.
Like if we want to have an episode on that, December 25th is not Jesus's birthday historically. Sorry if you think that's what it is. Look it up for yourself. But we do try to keep it centered around family, around giving, around, all that. And so like my kids, when they give me a Christmas list, I wrap the gift, I put it under the tree. The only surprises that they get on Christmas morning, because Athena, how many Christmases did we spend together? Like we do
a lot.
Up. Can you give me an amen?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, very much.
Over the top.
Yeah. Extravaganza.
Okay. Right.
For sure.
So we bring out the big boys on Christmas morning that they don't know about. So it could be a kayak, it could be a ping pong table, whatever, basketball hoop. And then their stockings are so fun to fill. And that's what we do for Christmas. We've never done Easter Bunny. We've never done any of that stuff. And it just all stemmed from the fact that we were like, all right, so if we're not doing this, we're just not doing this. And we don't. And, you'll be in the store like, what are you asking Santa for? And so people are going to be like, what do your kids say? I taught them to just smile and nod. Smile and nod. Just give it a smile and a nod.
I don't know. Like, it's just so weird to me, honestly. I don't know. I mean, it's because I didn't grow up with it, so I guess that's why. But to me, I'm just like,
there's a lot of people listening to this that are gonna think like, what?
That's insane to me.
You're talking to the one that did this, but
I know.
So when I told my mom that we weren't gonna do, because I know that'll be a question, like, so what do you do when your in-laws don't agree and all that kind of crap? Because me and Sean got it for all our decisions with his family. My mom cried hysterically. She's like, what will happen to my grandsons if you don't do Santa? And I'm still going to do Christmas. I just don't want to have this fat man in the North Pole be the one that like gives him the gifts. How do you make it about Jesus' birthday in the first place?
You work way too hard to have some freaking fat slob from the North Pole take credit for the gifts you're buying with your hard-earned money. Like, come on.
Literally. Like he needs to do some workouts.
I don't know. Should we sign Santa up for your resilient program?
My mentorship. Like, Santa needs to come hither, and he needs to regulate his nervous system for sure. Now, like, we watch Home Alone, we watch Santa Claus, the movies and everything, and I don't like. You can't see the thing about swimming upstream and breaking generational cycles is like, Athena, if you did talk to your future husband Joey and he's like, you know, I kind of want to do Santa, and you guys make the couple decision to do Santa Claus, like, that's when we move different. Like, you know, move different, the results are different, like that whole thing. It's like, I don't know. I feel like we need to, as a society, and then as obviously sisters, it's just like unwarranted opinions on the internet. Everybody's got a say in everything. And, you know, we have great traditions in our family, our core six that we talk about, but they're not the same as other people's. And so I want to inspire people and empower them to like not do what they think they have to do. Like, no one is making you do Santa Claus, I guess is what I want to say. No one is making anyone bake a turkey on Thanksgiving. It's this overwhelming pressure. Excuse me, I just burped on the podcast. You can edit that out. But it's the overwhelming pressure that who is putting it on you and why? And then if you want to change that, you can. So the other flip side to the holidays is, like you were saying, like, mental health around the holidays, suicide is at an all-time high. And it's not healthy. It's not a healthy thing that goes on this time of year. Like, I struggle with the holidays, and I have an amazing family. Like, it gets dark when you start to think back to certain memories of your childhood, or you think, like, for me with Sean, like, when Yanni was born 13 years ago, he was struggling with addiction, and my son was dying from a well visit, which is a podcast episode for a million other days. But like, so I have this trauma surrounded around this time of year into my birthday and then to Christmas, which obviously it's been 13 years, but like for a while there, it was dark for me, really dark, really dark.
Yeah. So I have a question. Though, that I want to touch on before we move on, because I feel something I've noticed with people that I know. Can we just take a moment for how dark it is where I am and how light you are right now?
Do you want me to turn it so you could see?
It's just funny. My tree's on, but anyways, it's funny. But so here's my question for you, because what I've noticed in people that I know that had, you know, I feel like, okay, look, if there's like a spectrum of like your childhood, right? I feel like you're not at like the end of like, you know, the worst childhood to ever exist, but you're also very much not at, you know, the end of like perfect childhood, you know, not one issue, didn't know anything. You know, I would say, I mean, you could say better than I could where you fall, but do you feel like because you didn't have that like perfect childhood of that, you know, we host the holidays at our house and all family comes over and I have all my parents and my friends and, you know, Friendsgiving and all that stuff, like, do you feel like because you grew up having that, you know, I don't know if you would call it like that feeling of being alone or however you felt around holidays. So do you feel like now as a parent that's why you kind of feel like you want to go that extra like few steps and overcompensate for like your kids, because like you almost like want to give them something you weren't able to experience in the way that you should have as a child?
So there's one thing that a lot of people never talk about, and I obviously, as your big sis, I'm going to be preparing you for this, is no one warned me, and I don't think at 22 I would have been open to hear this, but I know you will be, is when you have your children, you are literally, your inner child comes out so much. And so there's things that we subconsciously push down, good and bad, by the way. Like, I had a great, like, there's things that are great about my life, you know, certain things I could think of that were great. You can't be these depressive victim dumbasses out there that just focus on the negative all the time. Cause you like, I can't with those people, but you know, so your inner child then starts to heal all these things that may not have gone right. You're able to make them right with your children, not perfectly. And so I think, yes, I think that number one, I did that test, me and Sean, of the love language. Mine's gifts and his is acts of service. And if you think about your brother-in-law and you think about me, it makes perfect sense, correct?
Yeah.
Like there's just something about giving someone I love something that I think through about deeply, and then I give it to them, and then I literally get a high off of watching my children open up Christmas morning or giving my sister a gift. Like I'm just here for that, right? And then Sean's is service. So like he loves to serve, he loves to cook for us, he likes to watch us eat the food, he likes to do things like that. And so part of it is that's my love language. I love gift giving. And then the second thing is I'm healing my inner child. Now, as you were talking through that, I will say this, mom, dad listening, if they are, it sucks for divorced kids. It sucks for divorced kids on Christmas because your parents are fighting, and mine weren't fighting, but in most cases, parents are fighting with each other about who gets who on what holiday. And then you're talked about like you're a freaking article of clothing for the pictures on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
And then like, so I remember my Christmas mornings, I would wake up, always arguments in my house with my stepdad and my mom, and the stress and the wrapping the gifts. And I'm talking about when I knew Santa wasn't real. Okay. And then it was like this high of like opening the gifts and like all my endorphins are going. And then I had to like get ready to go to like my Greek Christmas and then do it all over again. And twofold is the food was great. It was amazing. But like, it was just stressful for me as a kid. It was stressful as a young adult. Like I felt so worn thin. Then you add in, if you have a spouse into that mix, oh man, it's a lot because who are you going to be with on Christmas and whose tradition are you going to follow? And like, oh my gosh, like the shit I got for like jumping every time my father-in-law said jump. And I did that for like the good majority of my marriage. And I love that man. And he passed away, so I have nothing bad to say about him. But, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of these unnecessary pressures that I can remember. And I'll prepare you and not do that to my sons. When you start to build your own life and your own home, it's a lot. It's all a lot. But yes, definitely part of me and Christmas morning and birthdays too. I love to make it like a holiday. So we always like the whole kitchen table is just like done up for the person's birthday, and that's just what we do. What does Sean do when I wake up on my birthday? He does it for me, and then I do it for him. I don't know, it's just this thing we do.
No, I love that. And I think that the boys like having that, like, and always having it being a part of their childhood and like growing up will give them like such high standards when it comes to that. And I think that's a really good thing because like they value that experience that you gave them. And I think that when they get older, they'll be so appreciative of it because they'll understand like when they're young, like even Yanni, like he doesn't get it. Like when he's older and he like looks back and like he has his own family or he has like a girlfriend or a wife and kids, like he'll look back and be like, wow, like you really made it a priority to make it so special and memorable for them. And like I think it's really amazing. And like I've always loved how you did that because even like we always obviously celebrated, but like I feel like take it to this like amazing really cool level, and I love it. And I want to be like that with my kids. Like I want like to see that look on their faces of like it's like that, you know, everything's perfect. And I feel like I just think they'll really appreciate that when they get older, especially. So I think it's really cool. But
even like the joy of Christmas morning, like I got to spend 12 years of your Christmases together in our house in South Carolina. And like our boys, those are their fondest memories with their aunt and, you know, aunts and like the glorious mess of Christmas morning. Like I could cry right now thinking about that. It was always, you know, an amazing part of the tradition. Let's talk about Thanksgiving really fast because obviously you're getting the point and we're having the conversation, and I hope people don't feel offended by this conversation. Again, I don't judge you for doing what I want you to just do what you want to do for your kids. But Thanksgiving, we were doing the turkey and all that for probably 10 years of our marriage. And I was telling Marty, obviously we love Marty, this today. And all these years we did the turkey. Sometimes we had a bunch of family over. So for a while we would go to my in-laws, and then unfortunately when my father-in-law passed away, we started doing it ourselves, and that was great. And we had our Greek side of the family over. My mom came over, whatever. And then I think it was 2022. We got this organic chicken. We did the whole American
chicken or turkey.
I'm turkey, my bad. So we get the turkey, and Sean is literally cooking it all day, like all day long. We're starving. By the way, none of my children like turkey. Not one of them. They wanted fish, they wanted steak, they wanted a burger. But every year we would like fight with them, another pressure to make them eat the food that everyone's supposed to eat on Thanksgiving. So this one year in 2022, so it's only been a year of us making this new tradition. So empowerment of make new ones is he makes the turkey, and it's like 7:00. We're starving, and he goes to take it out, and it's raw. Like the turkey's just raw. And he looked at me, and like Sean doesn't get emotional. You know how Sean is. Like he's just like always happy. He's pretty like, whatever. But when it comes to his cooking, because he's so good at it, like I thought homie was gonna cry. Like he was like
oh my
it's
gosh.
raw. Wait, so it's raw. Then he looks at me and the kids, and we are like, I am so hangry. I'm ready to literally order out somewhere. Like I can't right now. Can we go to Miyabi? Are they open on Thanksgiving? Like I don't even know what's going on. Okay, some hibachi. So the turkey's not good. He throws it back in. He's so mad. He's so disappointed. And we sit back down at the table, and all we have is like mashed potatoes, stuffing. I think we had corn, but we have no meat. And so like Yana goes to the fridge and gets like a yogurt and sits down. I'm like eating the mashed potatoes with the stuffing in it. I'm like, babe, it's okay. Like I'll eat it when it comes out, whatever. And Sean looks at all of us. He goes, why do we make turkey? And I'm like, I don't know. So he looks at all the boys and I, and he goes, all in favor of turkey and likes to eat turkey on Thanksgiving, say aye. And every one of us kind of just looked at him. We're like, and he goes, that's it then. Next year we're having filet mignon. And so the following Thanksgiving and then this Thanksgiving, it's filet mignon, balsamic onions, a little bit of organic rice, bada bing, bada boom. That's our Thanksgiving.
I literally love that. I'm actually not like a huge turkey girl. Like I'll eat, like I will eat turkey breasts like on a sandwich.
Yeah.
But like the
same.
way Thanksgiving turkey is like made, I just like don't like, I don't know. It's just like anything actually sounds much better. Like seafood, steak, literally any chicken sounds better. Like I'd rather eat like a juicy chicken in the oven. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just like one of those things that you just like do. And I'm just like, I literally end up always eating just one piece. And then I'm like, done. The end.
It's so much work. It is a
lot of work. Like
which you are going to look at your mom one day and be like, whoa, that woman was like, because like she has hosted so many things and cooks all the time. And I'm like, it's just so much work. And then it's so much to clean up. And then you're all fat and bloated. And then and then the Black Friday thing, I never participated in that shit. Ever. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
I know that's changed with 2020. People are like doing Black Friday sales, including myself, like for the whole month. But anyway, I wanted to tell the turkey story. I know that fits in, and hopefully will help someone just make their own traditions. And maybe they're gonna have fish on Thanksgiving. I don't care what you do.
Little shrimp butter and jelly moment.
Oh, shrimp scampi moment. But if it's rooted in, which will be the perfect segue of stress, fighting with your spouse, yelling at your kids, why are we doing it? Like, why are we doing that to ourselves?
No, and I think that it's just what I've seen is like what all this like stress and anxiety about, it's one thing if you really like to host and like that's your thing, but I feel like most people like it does become very stressful, and I feel like most of the time it ends up getting put on like one person or two people to like prepare everything, and I feel like it just that just does not sound enjoyable like at all. So I feel like it's one thing if like it's one thing if everyone is contributing to the setup of the table, but if it's literally one person cooking 17 dishes, it's just like not the vibe. Like I don't know, I feel like it just seems too stressful, and so much anxiety and stress and preparation for everyone to rot on the couch and watch football afterwards, like, which is fine, but like it's just like food coma, and which is fun and like it's a great experience, but it's like at what cost? Like you might as well just eat what you want to eat, and like you know, they're like some of my friends like literally like go out to dinner on Christmas Eve. They're like, I'm not sitting home cooking. Like I want to just go out, have someone cook for me, and you know, eat out and like enjoy time with my family. Like everyone has their own version of celebrating and their own version of how they want to best enjoy themselves. Like maybe like if you're a mom, like maybe you're sick and tired of cooking in the kitchen all day long. Like maybe you just want someone else to cook for you and you want to go out to eat.
I would like to point out that Roost Chris does Thanksgiving and Christmas. We went there for Christmas one year. It was amazing. So if you are that mom and you have a Roost Chris, like you can go make the reservation. It's beautiful. It tastes amazing.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people, like I love being home, don't get me wrong, but like I think it's nice to go out sometimes. Like sometimes like you want to dress up and go out and celebrate.
Yeah,
like I think it's nice, and I think everyone has their own way that they want to celebrate it, and their own way that to them is relaxing. Because if you're off of work or your kids aren't in school, like what do you want to spend your free time with? Like not everyone wants to spend their free time cooking and rotting away in someone's couch.
The other thing that I want to say as you're bringing that up, Athena, is ask your kids. So if you obviously, I can't ask Luke who's 5, but like as your children, they're little adults too. They're little humans. Like ask them, like let them chip in on your traditions and ask them what they think. Not that obviously at the end of the day, Sean and I are always going to make the final decision, but I'm talking to, because we are hitting every demographic of women and sisters, and I don't even have adult children yet, but I think of like Marty. You ask, like, do you even like this? Like, do you guys want to switch it up? Would you rather a trip? Like when I think about having adult kids, first of all, the highest I made it is not the zeros in my bank account. My kids come home for Christmas. My kids come home for Thanksgiving. I realize I will never do what my in-laws did to me, to my sons. But I really do want to be the home that, I'm not saying every year, but like I feel like that's such an accomplishment as a parent that you've done it right, first of all. Second of all, I think that like how cool would it be when Yanni's, you know, starting his new family, if I'm like, well, I live in the Keys, but you get it, like a trip to little, like let's do this. And like I feel like that will be more of the way I go with adult children. Like how cool would it be if daddy came to you and I and was like, instead of me sending you money or giving you a gift this year, like let's take a trip together as a family. And as parents and as adult parents and with adult children, we could use that to get our family back together and to check in with everybody, and like as a really cool thing. So again, I'm just like trying to expand everyone's minds around this whole pressure of the holidays. So anyway, holiday traditions. Aren't they a bitch sometimes? Do what you want to do. That's all I'm going to say. Like okay. Do what you want to do. Mic drop from Athena. Like, don't do what Hallmark says or the Disney Channel. What do you want to do for your tradition? Shake it up if you have to. That's it. That's all I have.
That's all we got for you.
Next episode, we are going to talk about the trauma surrounding the holidays, because this one is pretty long and we want to keep it all in there.
Blabbermouths, you guys. So we're going to split this up. We're going to split this up in 2. So you get half now and half
this week.
So
see you next week, all about holiday trauma. Bye.
We love you all.